All right. So I want to welcome you all again to what is the West Michigan Green Affordable Housing Program. Real quick, if you are not familiar with who we are, my name's Brett Little. I'm the program manager here at the GreenHome Institute. We are a nonprofit organization headquartered right in Grand Rapids, Michigan, celebrating our 20th year this year. Super excited. And we help do education, training, certification, awareness, and all of that of residential green building topics, single family, multifamily, you name it. And you know, the WEGI Foundation has always been a huge supporter of ours here in Grand Rapids. They actually initially seed funded our first ever executive director position way before my time. I was still in high school at the time, so it wasn't anything to do with me. But they have recently been supporting us now for 6 years for our Green Affordable Housing Program, saying, go out and help move the needle on residential green building, serving affordable housing and low-income housing and supportive housing, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So we're super thankful for them. If you've got project ideas, their grant rounds do come up. The pandemic threw it off a little bit, but I believe, you know, beginning of the year and then in the summertime, always take a look. They definitely support this kind of work and they're leaning into it a little bit more. So check them out at the wegifoundation.org, I believe it is. And again, just a huge thanks to them for sponsoring us and funding us to continue this work. Now, previously, up until recently, we were only focused through the foundation funding on this program. Now we're national in scope. We do a lot of work around Michigan. But on this particular program, we were only focused on Grand Rapids. But recently, we've been able to expand that, and I'll get to that in a second. Very thankful for some of the folks we've been able to work with through this program. There's a huge list. I don't even have them all on here. Inner City Christian Federation, New Development Corporation, Habitat, longtime partner with them through the WEGI Foundation, Link Up, Samaritas, what used to be called 311 Youth Build, now AYA Youth Collective, Well House, and then we're part of Seeds of Promise work group to help bring small homes to a community, and so we're always looking for new ideas and new ways to help. So like I said, now we can serve all of West Michigan. What is West Michigan? I looked it up on Wikipedia before I did this webinar, because you say it but you don't know it. And so, you know, we looked at West Michigan just, and you know, really what we're looking at is Kent, Muskegon, Ottawa, and Allegan counties, and then kind of ebbing a little bit into the city of Kalamazoo, which I'm so excited to be working with Jamie over there, their sustainability liaison, on some other programming that we were working on even prior to this knowledge of our grant fund. So we can now expand this and working with them into that city. And so if you're doing work down there, you know, let us know too. But otherwise, those are sort of our target areas here for the program. And it's not just Grand Rapids anymore, but certainly we'll be, you know, we've been in Grand Rapids, that's where we are, and so we'll certainly be heavily involved there too. So how do you define affordable housing, you might be asking? So first of all, we can work on single family or multifamily, and even if the multifamily is mixed income, there's actually benefits to having mixed income multifamily. It's better to not just do all affordable or not all market rate. There are benefits to mixing. So we can get involved in mixed income, but let's have a conversation there. New construction or renovation, doesn't matter. We can get involved. Light rehabs, moderate rehabs, light dust touch-ups. Let us know. We can get involved. And then we're looking at, our target is 100% area median income. And so that is either for renters or for sale. It could be either one, whether you're the landlord or whether you're renting it out. And then also, typically these supportive housing services easily by definition fall within the 100% area median income, but not all the time. Sometimes there are cases where it's a little more complicated. So that's where we have the ability to sort of circumvent this 100% area median income issue, and instead just say, look, we're going to be focused on homeless, which is a huge issue right now, all over the news, senior, veteran, youth, refugees, special needs, what we might call medical assistance, big issue now. And then, you know, there might be things we haven't even listed here that is going beyond your traditional just sale of a home or rental service to really support someone in need in the community. So let us know if it doesn't fit the list. We try to be adaptive and flexible. In fact, this list was built out by you and folks reaching out to us saying, look, we think we have an idea. And ultimately, we just want you to know is that we want to meet you where you're at. You know, maybe you've never heard of green, maybe you've never done green, maybe you're building or doing things barely legal, right? Just getting by on code. And that's okay, we're not here to judge you. The idea is that we want to figure out where you are and then how we can move you forward, and then continue to work with you to continue to move you forward. So maybe it's just, honestly, we've had people reach out to us to say, look, this is a lot, it's very overwhelming. Can you just like look at our utility bills and give us some ideas? So that's what we did. We just looked at the utility bills as our first step initiative and said, look, you know, looking at the square footage of your properties that you have serving this community and your utility, we think that you need to, you know, take a further review, or maybe this one doesn't need it. Maybe this one's in good shape. We can look at your water bill. So we just want to move you along this continuum, move that needle, get you to that next step. Maybe it's energy efficiency is just where you need to get to next. Now maybe it's health and air quality. Maybe it's water conservation. Water bills, Grand Rapids just said water bills are going up. Sewer rates, water bills are going up. What can we do to help, you know, on your project? The other thing is really it's that you know, that the main thing that we're looking at is financing and funding and access to resources. Because one thing we've quickly realized over the years we've been doing this is that we can give you all the education and the training and the certification resources, but without the resources to do it, it becomes a big barrier. And so what we're putting together, and I was going to send it out and completely got behind, but I can actually snag the link here for you all now and drop it into the chat box. But this is a resource list that we're working on, and we're going to make it a lot more friendlier, easier to use. It's just sort of in draft mode. But this is a resource list, and originally when we put it together, we only had funds to work within Grand Rapids, so it really was Grand Rapids centric. But we now are expanding it. But it's sort of a list that you can take and identify what it is that you're working on. And so, is it a single family? Is it a rental? Is it a new build? Is it multifamily? Is it home ownership versus sale? Are you nonprofit or are you for-profit entity helping out? You know, what is it? The idea is that there's all these financial resources out there, and they continue to grow. And we're going to talk with some folks later from representing Consumers Energy about some cool stuff coming up. So stick around for that for 2021. And that have, quite frankly, have always been available. But taking all these resources together, and you might pick 4, 5, 6 of them and say, look, I didn't have the funds to do my project, or I knew about 1 or 2 of them, but now I see there's 4, 5, 6 of them that I can use to really finish my project, to really complete my project, and make sure that it has a sustainability, quite frankly, a sustainability component to it. So we're building this list out. We're looking for feedback on how it works, resources that we're missing. So it'll be iterative. We'll be updating it as we go. We'll be, you know, reach out to me and tell me that you hate the list and it's awful and that you want to see it changed. And that's great, because we love feedback, and it's just it's an open source tool out there that we're building and hoping to get the word out. So I'm dropping a link to that now into the chat so you can have access to it. Again, for those of you outside of GR, you might say, hey, there's not much here, and that's understandable. We are we're building it out now that we know we have funding outside of the city to expand to other regions, and we try to keep it up to date. A lot of these lists get made and then they get thrown out or just run. They become outdated. So we're going to keep it up to date as well. And like I said, you need to go in, and when you're going to select the area that you're working in, you'll need to make sure to select all that applies. So just because you selected you are working in Grand Rapids, for example, doesn't mean Kent County stuff or for the whole state or for the US or for consumers or DTE will pop up. So you also have to make sure in that area selection that you are selecting what city you're doing work in. So I'm hoping this is displaying the correct thing here. It doesn't look like it is, but I sent you the slides too, so you should be able to see it at some point. Okay. Oh, I see we're on pause here. Sorry about that. So anyway, here's an example of what I was saying. Again, just the drop down of making the correct selection. So, okay. So the other thing is collaboration, working together. That's a big key of our funding this year, and we hope you'll join us all in some of these work groups, or let us know what group we're not involved in that we should be involved in. And the groups just get larger and then smaller depending on where you're doing work. So we want everyone to be involved in the Michigan Public Service Commission Energy Waste Reduction Low Income Energy Working Group. We just need a whole consortium of around the state of folks working on low income affordable housing and energy efficiency. And what are the barriers? This group has been phenomenal. In fact, that list that I put together kind of came out of an idea out of that group where we just needed this thing to come together and have these resources. So check them out, and I can connect you with them. We've got Michigan Energy Efficiency for All, the MIFA coalition that we'd love for you to join. We've got a building decarbonization group now that's coming together to help with the new Michigan code coming out, as well as ongoing support to existing homes. We've got the Kent County Essential Needs Task Force and Energy Efficiency Subcommittee, and I'll be looking to see if Ottawa, Allegan, and Muskegon have anything that is comparative to that. I haven't seen anything like it, but we'd love for you to join us if you're in Kent County. Shrinking way down to the neighborhood level, we are working with neighborhood associations. We've got the Seeds of Promise Housing Impact Committee that we sit on, where we're talking again about development of affordable small homes to help people, transition out of inaffordable, inexpensive, unhealthy rental situations and into newly built, smaller homes that meet their budget and, quite frankly, could be net zero in energy use easily. So what other groups are we missing? Who are we not involved in? What should we be involved in? Let us know. Obviously, our time is limited, but we'd love to hear from you where we're not involved. So that's sort of the awareness side of everything. There's awareness, education, and certification. Those are the three main components of what we're doing. Education is a second huge component. How can we help you understand what it is that we're trying to communicate on sustainability and affordable housing, and what it is that we need to understand that the barriers are? And so obviously this is all going to be done for now, for the time being, virtually, but our grant is 2 years long now, so we do hope to maybe see you all in the summer or fall at some capacity, whether it's outside. We'll figure that out, but it'll be virtually for now, so we hope you can join us. The first thing to know is by signing up for our program, and quite frankly, signing up simply just means sending me an email or getting on a phone with me. There's no formal registration. You're going to get instant membership in our organization, so that is free now, totally just by being involved in affordable housing. And so by having that membership, you'll get access to all of our weekly Wednesday webinars. You'll get notifications of those. You'll get discounts on green certification, which quite frankly will probably mostly be free for you in our program. And then many other benefits that you might be able to extend folks you're working with, and just being able to say you are supporting the Institute. And again, it will just be free via the grant program. So look for that. That'll be coming your way. And you'll get that notice and can share it with anyone else within your company too. It'll be a corporate membership. The other thing to know is that we're going to be hosting 4 major training sessions, at the very least anyway, on green building certification strategies, their results, topics focused on operations, health, environmental justice, climate, and pandemic resiliency. So honestly, this is sort of a call for proposals. If you have ideas on these types of topics or speakers, let us know. But we're working on that. So look for those major trainings. I said, hopefully 2 of them will be virtually, and then the following year, hopefully in person and spread out through the area. These trainings will be 100% free for your staff and you and anyone on your team, your project team involved in an affordable housing project. And quite frankly, they might be free for the entire community depending on what the training is. I know for sure a lot of you attended our big Lead for Homes kickoff back just about a year ago, probably, if it wasn't, December 10th or something, 2019 in person in Grand Rapids. Big event. And some of you maybe attended it virtually, and I know that didn't go over so well. So we're going to be doing it all again virtually. And so it'll be a big Lead for Homes training, how to use the program, what you need to know about it. And it'll be fully free for anyone engaged and involved in the Affordable Housing Agency. So look for that. And it'll all be online and it'll all be on demand mostly. So it'll be kind of on your time. You won't have to commit a specific time to it. So look for those coming your way. And we hope to replicate that for Green Star and other programs we're involved in. This is Stephanie over at Link Up in Grand Rapids showing off her Lead Green Associates credential that was reimbursed through our program. And so we are offering reimbursements to achieve your Lead Green Associates, to achieve your Lead Accredited Professional in Homes, or to take our internal Green Star certification or Green Home Professional training, which is internal. It's a program we have for free, or to take our Home Energy Score Assessor training, all at no cost. The Green Associates and AP does have a fee, and if you fail their exam, you will have to pay that fee. But if you pass it, we do reimburse that. So, the Lead Green Associates and AP is sort of the what we call the international credential for green. And so we're trying to help affordable housing agencies develop that capacity internally to, have this credential and to be doing continuing ed and learning. And so let us know if that's the route you want to go. Again, there's a little bit of a risk because if you don't pass their test, which is all done online now, you will have to pay the fee. But if you do pass it, we will reimburse you through our grant. So that's good news. Again, we have our own internal programs called the Certified Green Home Professional, the Home Energy Score Assessor program as well, and the Lead Green Rater training. So we'll send those out to you in links. And again, those will be all accessible to you. You'll get the code for that once you become a member, and you can take that as an affordable housing advocate. And so, like I said, awareness is sort of the key, the function, understanding the resources that are available, the funding, getting together in groups. Second is that education, training, and supporting your staff, getting your staff credentialed, thinking green building, doing continuing ed in green building, under just keeping up with green building. And finally, ultimately that needs to lead to certification, right? We want to see tangible results. We want to see homes move forward, move on the needle of the continuum of green, new construction, multifamily, single family renovation, just really moving the needle on that. And so that is the ultimate goal of this, is that aspect of certification and obtaining that. And so that can be through Lead for Home certification, Enterprise Green Community certification, our internal Green Star program, getting scored on the Home Energy Score program or the HERS Index program. Again, they're all just places, and you might just say, let's just start with an energy rating and just keep it simple. And then the next one we'll go from there. So this is a shot. The Inner City Christian Federation has acquired lots of properties throughout Grand Rapids in certain areas. And so they're flipping these properties, and we're working with them to do test in, test out. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And giving them all home energy scores. We're doing green home inspections on them, and then saying, look, here's what you need to do to get certified. And so they're starting to certify all their remodels to our internal Green Star program through the through the Wege Foundation grant. And again, just want to stress all types of buildings, new construction, Multifamily renovations, down on the bottom right, that's Well House. Helping support homelessness by Housing First, that's a renovation, a LEED Gold renovation on the bottom there that had products donated to it through manufacturers, and we can connect you with them potentially. On the top is Link Up, that's a new built LEED Silver home that we're maybe going to take a tour of, depending on how it slows down my system here in a second. And then on the left there, Samaritas, affordable housing in Grand Rapids. It's a renovation or a rebuild of a church that got into our program. And then on the top left there is a newly built LEED project in Grand Rapids that's underway, all electric too. So pretty cool, and we'll have some more information on that. So we're covering it all. We can get involved in all sorts of housing types. Don't be limited by anything. Let us know what it is you're working on. So part of this on the certification process is what we call our preliminary plan review, pre-construction plan review. Really, we want to get the whole team together, not like this right now, sadly, but virtually, where you've got all the stakeholders, HVAC, construction, architect, design, operations, right? Huge operations are huge. Financing, funding, solar, energy rater. Let's all get together and do a pre-construction plan review on the project and see what we can do in the early stages, right? Well, because once it gets so far along, it becomes difficult to make impactful green changes and energy efficiency changes. So we're going to get the team together. And honestly, if it's a really small renovation, the team literally just maybe you and me, right? You wear many hats. You do the HVAC, you do the construction, that's fine. You don't need a whole team. And if it's a big development, we might have 15 people involved. So just depends on what your team is, but let's get together early and often. And so part of our funds is to remove the financial barrier that you might have to pay for green design meetings and design charrettes, and just say, let's just do it. You're working on an affordable housing project. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt that if we can at least just guide you during the design stage, we can help influence some good practices and set you in the right direction. And then we, on existing homes, we're going to go in and do an inspection to size it up and see where it's at. Blower door testing, ventilation. We find lots of gas and water leaks. What's the efficiency of the equipment? Is there a risk for carbon monoxide? Mold issues, water conservation, insulation opportunities, durability problems, lighting, solar opportunities. Before you do a plan review, obviously you want to know what the heck is going on in that existing structure if you're not planning a full gut rehab. So that's what we're doing. We're sending folks out, and that's getting funded to some degree on projects. And many of you have worked with us on that to just make an assessment on, what's going on out there. And then from there, we're going to put your plans together. We're going to review your plans, review your specifications. We're putting together a list of green specifications by division, and we're going to be sharing that with you all soon. It's going to have basic green features that you can just take and put right into your specs and send it out for contract, send it out for bid. You can take it, rip it apart. It'll be all in draft form, but we're going to be putting all that together and sharing that with you here over the next few months too, so you have that both for single family and multifamily. But we're going to be spending time reviewing your plans and just trying to, again, just make sure you're on track in that design stage. So some of the resources we're going to be using is that is the home energy rating system, or the HERS index for new construction major rehabs. The way these programs work is they tell you how the project is performing now, whether it's a new build or an existing, how much it's going to cost to operate, carbon emissions, your energy use per year, and then where it's going to be when the project is done if you follow our recommendations. We're going to even be able to hone in and figure out where the heck the problems are, where you want to invest your money, and then align it with rebate programs that are out to say, well, we see the walls are doing really bad, but we don't have a rebate for the walls, so maybe, but there's something for ventilation, which I think that's usually the opposite. But anyway, I'm just, we're going to be looking at your project saying, where is the problem? Let's go after the problem rather than just, doing random stuff and figure that out. And that again can happen in the design stage. Is a great time to do it on a new build because you don't want to be doing it backwards when the project is done. It's too late. And then on an existing building, you know, we're limited to certain things and funding, but that's what we're going to be helping you out with. And sometimes this can tie, whether it's a mortgage or whatever program you're using, you can, especially if you're selling homes to people, you can really help build their equity. You're already building their equity by giving them a home. But imagine if you did a traditional home to code, right? And here, you know, they're paying $1,000 in their mortgage, $400 a month in energy. But if we green certify it, you know, now they're shifting those dollars towards away from the costs into their, and sure, they might be paying more on the mortgage if you have to increase the sales price of the home, or maybe you buffer that with your financing. But whatever it may be, they're shifting those dollars, or if you're a landlord, you're shifting those dollars into your own pocket and you're reducing those bills, right? And that's building you equity, because you don't really build equity when you pay high energy bills. There's no, if you don't pay your energy bill, you get dinged for it, but you don't get rewarded for paying your energy bills necessarily. So, you know, by shifting that away into that equity, you're helping the people you serve build that equity up, or if you're a landlord or renter, you're going to be building that equity. So we're looking at total cost of home ownership and maintenance, quite frankly. And then, you know, we come out during the construction process, potentially a new build, to do a mid-construction review and just see how everything is looking. And if there's a problem, communicate that problem and try to amend that out. You know, maybe insulation isn't installed correctly, maybe the ducts weren't installed correctly. We want to try to fix those issues right away. So that's all part of the green inspection process. And then at the end, you get your brand new score. Hopefully it's a higher level, and it shows a report that you can use, just whether it's to your funder or to your constituents or whoever, even to your buyer or the appraiser or the lender, or just for yourself, knowing, hey, you got that score up and you improved efficiency and it's validated by a third party. So that's through the home energy score, mostly on existing homes. And then again, we're using that HERS index rating, which is used for code in the state of Michigan. A lot of code officials want to see this, or sometimes they ask for that. We just had one the other day ask for it on a multifamily project. But they're going to be looking at this home energy rating certificate. And this certificate can even tie into $2,000 tax credit rebates from the federal level, assuming that gets reapproved next year. That's been approved significantly all the time. So if you're a multifamily developer who have an ownership stake in your single family home, if you can get a really good HERS rating, that's an extra $2,000 tax credit potentially for you. Consult with your tax advisor. Don't take my advice, but we have seen it out there. And then again, you're going to hope get that label, that certification on your project and on your property to be able to show off. Again, funders like that. That's getting tied into lending programs now, into green appraisals. You know, you name it, having that certification just really validates at the end of the day that you've built a better performing home. And hopefully, you know, you can give it, if you're selling homes, you can give it to your buyers, and they can use that to build their equity in the future when they maybe move on from that house and go to sell it. It'll be worth more, hopefully, as more of these homes get certified around the city. So, you know, this is, again, a project link up that I'm showing off, and I'm going to see if we have a second here to take you through a quick tour of it. But Link Up is a really good example here with their property that I like to point out because they, we really started off, I think, with them doing what is it? We did a energy rating on their first property, you know, and just looked at it from an energy perspective and helped them move the needle on that. And then their next 3 sets of homes down the road from this one, which were very similar to this one, you know, we did Green Star certification on them. We tried to do LEED, but it just didn't work, and so we downshifted to Green Star, and that worked out as a good program. And I kind of look at like energy rating, Green Star, LEED, and then maybe even net zero as sort of stepping stones, right? And you just start with where you can start. And so again, they started out with sort of that energy rating. We certified 3 properties similar to this one to the Green Star, and this one, and then the next one we said, look, these were the 2-3 things that we just needed to correct to get to LEED Silver on this next one. And so we corrected it in the design stage, and then went from there and was able to get them certified to LEED, and then maybe on the next one a higher level of LEED, who knows, or maybe they've kind of found their sweet spot. So that's kind of how we want to work with your properties, like just moving along that continuum and starting where you are and where your comfort level is. So I'm going to go ahead and share this now because it seems to be working. So I want to invite you into this house. And so this is a Matterport design that we did of the house with a local a Matterport professional company. And our hope is that if you do these projects, we want to send them out to also scan your houses and show them off. So it's a promotion thing for you too, but it helps us just show really that we're not asking you to put a spaceship and land it into a neighborhood, right? Sometimes people look at green building and they're like, oh, that's just that funky looking house loaded with solar panels and wind turbines and geothermal and all sorts of crazy stuff happening, all glass windows. And what we really want you to know, and your constituents and funders, is that it's just moving a couple different things that are barely noticeable, right? You looked at that house and it looked like any other house. And so a lot of the green stuff is hidden, but it's there really serving a big purpose. So again, taking you a tour on the main floor here, you can see when you enter the home, what we have is a water resistant surface. We kept carpet away, right? Boom. No mold, shoes don't come in, that's a positive, right? And you've got these water resistant surfaces all over the house, just again, making sure that they don't mold when water falls off of the kitchen. You can't see it here, but you can see the pipe, right? Back there, let's zoom in. Come on this tour with me here. Don't get too close, stay 6 feet away, please. But anyway, you see this pipe, right? This is stopping people from getting sick from wildfire smoke, right? When we turn our stoves on, especially gas ones, and burn stuff, that's PM 2.5, right? I've got an air quality sensor in my house, and I have an electric stove, and that thing still goes off. So we're using this. It's just a simple thing. Boom, we vent it out, sucks it out, and people don't get sick. They don't get asthma. It helps out. So we wanted to show that off. And again, here's the main, the entrance from the car, and this is an entrance here that has the ability to set up for a shoe removal space. So LEED calls it contaminant control, right? And so again, you don't want to bring in nasty stuff off the ground to the house, and so you could put up a shoe removal space in your project, and there's points for that, and it encourages people to not bring their shoes in and stuff off the ground and babies crawling around and picking up. So that's a health feature, really simple feature. And then you can see here for this property, we've got a CO2 detector. So it's got a gas system. So put in a CO2 detector, or actually that should be, we got to get that fixed, but that should be a CO, carbon monoxide detector. I didn't catch that one before. And then something a little unique that you won't find in most homes, but they put in an energy recovery ventilation system to capture the air efficiently as it's being exhausted and bring in fresh air. And we all know that having constant fresh air coming into all of our spaces now could be a matter of life and death, unfortunately. And so something we've always talked about, but now it's real. And so, this is a way to keep that fresh air moving into the house, but then also capture up to 70% of the waste heat. So not something you have to see in all of the green homes, but something that we wanted to point out. So let's go downstairs. And so down here, you can see, some of the insulation behind the wall. Fiberglass insulation that was installed to a grade 1 level, so it's nice and sealed. Foam up there in the rim band joist to keep air from leaking out of the house. You can see here they've got this bath fan running down to ventilate the basement because the ERV wasn't enough to take care of it. Pretty simple stuff, and they'll be building another room down here. If you look at these ducts, they're all really well sealed with mastic, and they're not running in a rim joist, right? So that's very important for air sealing and keeping things out. And then you've got a high efficiency furnace, gas furnace, high efficiency sealed combustion water heater. So again, just real basic stuff that's not asking a lot out of a project. Keeping cold water pipes in conditioned space or sealing them up. So just again, just take a look at the house. I think I sent out a link to the Matterport, but if not, I'll grab it here and share it with you as well. You can take your own. We hope to do some of those tours with you on your project to show off what you did, and then just again really show that this, we're not asking for anything super crazy here to do that. So I just dropped that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And there we go here. Just real quick too, I'm not going to go into this now because I want to make sure our other speakers have some time and we have time for questions. But we've evaluated a lot of homes in Grand Rapids, and this is a year old, so we have more. And it just gives some data on where the homes were before they did work, where they did after, where we did our review, like what zip codes, and then just some of the features of the homes that we reviewed, what shape they were in when we found them, and what kind of things needed to be corrected to get to the Green Star certification and make sure it's a healthy, efficient home. So we're hoping to do more of this research and this study just to get a sense of what we need. And ultimately, I'll just, before I hand it off to consumers, some folks from representing consumers to talk about some cool programs to help you next year. Again, I just want to say that this program is cyclical, and you got to figure out where you're at in the program, and then we just keep moving along the cycle. But it's just getting that sense of what's available, how can we help, how do you fund this, what groups should we be involved in, if any, and then education, getting trained, getting credentials, and then certification. And quite frankly, a lot of people come to me and say, Brett, I don't have time for awareness, I don't have time for education, I don't have time to get a credential. And that's fine. We'll just jump right into certification and let's move forward. At the end of the day, that's what our goal is, to have certified properties that meet these standards. And then promotion of your project, like with that Matterport, like we showed you, and then reflection, right? We always like to say, look, what are some lessons learned on this project, that we can learn on the next one? Like a lot of times we see, the hood range didn't get ventilated. There was a barrier to that. Or the bath fan doesn't run to the highest threshold, so we just need to figure out that issue. Or just a small supply in the return duct got panned into a joist, and geez, now we can't get LEED certified. So what happened there? Let's talk with the HVAC and figure out a way around it. Whatever it is, let's have a conversation, and that's okay. We're not here to point the finger at you or be the green police. We're here to say, what was the barrier and how do we overcome it next time? That's okay. And then the cycle begins again, because building science keeps changing, funding and administrations and policies keep changing, and we're all learning new things together. So that's kind of the cycle here. So anyway, I want to hand it off now, and we're going to stick around for questions and Q&A and talk, but I want to hand it off now to Ross here to talk a little bit about some consumers program that's coming up next year that can help you out.
Thanks, Brett. And just want to make sure everybody can hear me and see my screen.
Gotcha.
Great, thank you. So hi everybody, my name is Ross Ago, and I work for ICF and representing Consumers Energy on their upcoming pilot for all electric PV ready new home construction. We're getting ready to launch in January of next year and have some exciting details here to share with you all. So first off, pilot incentives. So we're launching this all electric PV ready pilot for super efficient new homes in 2021. This pilot was going to be available for market rate housing, but also income qualified housing. So has both different types there. Pilot funding for homes. So incentives are available for homes completed by November of 2021. Incentives are paid to the builders directly. And requirements overall for the program. So this is a pretty simplified list, but the builder and the rater must submit an application with home plans to consumers for review. They must work with a HERS rater for all the third-party inspections and individual testing. And then kind of gets to more of the minimum eligibility requirements for this program. So it must meet a HERS index or score of 40 or less. It must have a cold climate heat pump installed and used as the primary heating equipment. And then also for the PV ready portion of this, they must complete the PV ready checklist that's available through the DOE Zero Energy Ready Homes program. In terms of incentives, so as I noted, we're launching in Q1 of 2021. And it will be available for builders building new construction homes, duplexes, and townhomes in Consumers Energy Electric and dual fuel service territories. And as I said, homes must meet a HERS score of 40 or less, and there's also bonuses for HERS 35 or less. And then there's just a breakdown of the incentives. So as long as you meet those eligibility requirements on the income qualified housing, you can get a rebate of $20,000, and then it gets kicked up to $25,000 for HERS 35 or lower. And then also we're interested in learning more about electric vehicle charging stations. So there's also a $500 bonus for an installation of a level 2 EV charging station in the home. Also there I have the overall incentives for market rate housing. So a little bit less than income qualified, about half, so 10 to 13,000 on the market rate side. And then lastly, I want to just jump into eligibility requirements for the income qualified program. So income qualified properties may be eligible to participate and receive incentives if they meet one of the following requirements. So participation in an affordable housing program such as LIHTC, HUD, USDA, location in an income qualified census tract, rent roll documentation, or resident income information. So upon application, we might be reaching out for verification of one of these different channels to just prove that the property is going to be known as as an income qualified property. Lastly, so while the pilot does not require specific measures and efficiency levels, such as a SEER for an air source heat pump, the pilot is encouraging builders to install similar measures as the table below in order to help builders meet that HERS 40 target, which is pretty tough to hit. But we're here also to support builders with marketing and training, work with your HERS raters. We'd be happy to sit down in a early design meeting just to make sure that all the measures that add up to that HERS 40 so you can qualify for incentives. So there's a table below with some of those recommended measures, and we'd be happy to talk as we progress and launch the pilot in 2021. So next steps, as I noted, participation agreements should be ready, and I can just begin distributing those for any interested individuals beginning in January of 2021. And there's my contact information below. You can reach me on my email, ross.igoe@icf.com, or my cell at 614-440-3159. That's all I have for you today, but please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, thanks, Ross. Could you stick around a little bit for questions too after Annie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, now I'm going to hand it over real quick to Annie with DVNGL to talk more on the multifamily side. So Annie, thanks for joining us. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. So I am the pilot program manager for the Zero Net Energy pilot program. Similar in style here, it's all electric and also available to projects that are in Consumers Energy Electric territory as well as dual fuel service territories. And this is open to commercial buildings as well as multifamily, so not single family. And we have a solar ready requirement as well. So it's a Zero Net Energy pilot program. However, it's an energy efficiency program, so we can't require the renewable energy part of it. So we're focusing on more of just the solar ready. The incentive that you get with this program is $1.50 per square foot. And our requirements circle around the energy reduction. So we're not technology specific. There's not certain types of equipment that you need to install. It's more of just getting to a energy reduction target for your building. So we're open to existing buildings as well as new construction. So it's a bit of a hybrid approach here. and each participant has to go through the phases that you see below. So it's more of an integrated design process, a zero net energy process that you're going through in order to achieve these oftentimes difficult goals to hit. So for existing buildings, we have a 30% energy reduction requirement. So that's not a HERS score, it's specifically on the energy consumption of the building. For existing buildings, it's compared to existing consumption. For new construction, it's compared to a code minimum value, and it's 40% reduction for new construction because there's less limitations as it would be with a new construction building. And as Brett was mentioning in his presentation, we are very much encouraging early involvement, and being able to have the best influence on your design occurs when you get everybody at the table early on. So our program goes through 5 different phases. In the first phase, this is the preliminary design phase, and this is typically schematic design or design drawings, getting into your DDs, where you're starting to get everybody at the table, and you're going through some preliminary analysis, and most importantly, having your charrette. So you're setting your goals and targets and getting everybody on the same page at that point. When you get into phase 2, that's getting into the advanced design. So you have your energy model, and you're really designing to meet those goals that you set for yourself in the beginning. And then the next stage is going into construction. And in this stage, we require having commissioning. So in order to have all the commissioning efforts and the construction efforts align, we require a construction kickoff meeting, which occurs prior to breaking ground if it's new construction or just starting your renovations, just to make sure schedules are aligning, you're able to inspect the insulation before the walls close, that kind of thing. And really making sure you're getting the most bang for your buck for the investment that you're putting in. So you can have the greatest design and really have these fantastic intent of reducing energy consumption, reducing costs for utility bills. But if you don't go through these checks and balances, oftentimes the greatest design isn't implemented appropriately. So having that conversation from the start about commissioning, and then also into the M&V, so measurement and verification, making sure your building operations are also aligning with what set points you had, what scheduling you had, all the things that you had set up for your equipment in order to get the most savings that you possibly can. So phase 4 is your measurement phase, making sure all of your equipment is set up properly, you're monitoring all of the consumption that's occurring on your building, and then phase 5 is getting into just the final verification that you've reached your goals. Down at the bottom, you have my email address if you want any more information about the program, if you're interested in getting involved. And yeah, that's the rundown of my program. Happy to answer any questions when we get to those.
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, we can stick around and have a conversation with you all on any questions you have, and I do see a couple coming through here. Just a second, I know I'm hiding there, so there I am. So yeah, Ross, I'm going to start with you real quick, and then Annie, I'm going to shift it to you on this particular question. But Ross, what are the area median income or if any requirements? Is it 180? I mean, is it easy to say that number for your program on the, I know there's a market rate program, but on the higher tier for. I don't know why, but you're breaking up pretty bad. Oh, you're still muted. That's why.
Yeah, sorry about that. We would have to take a look at that real quick. Like I said, we're just starting to figure out this income qualified portion. So please, feel free to reach out, and I can speak with, the team to make sure that would fall under the income qualified tier. But right now, I don't have that question just on the top of my head. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. And then Annie, obviously, as far as I understand, there's not any benefit or drawback to not being a low-income property for your program, correct?
No, it's same across the board.
Okay. I will add to that, and I will say, if you are pursuing the low-income housing tax credit programs, that a lot of their requirements do line up from the green portion with the requirements of what you need to do for your program. So it works out well in some ways because you're not necessarily being asked to do too many additional things. You already have to go through those hoops, is what we're finding on one project. So
yeah, we really try to line up as much as we can and not make redundant work for anyone, because who's that really benefiting?
right.
So
That was the other question I was going to have. So Ross, let's say folks are hearing this and they're like, I have no clue my property is even coming close or even possibly coming close, or my projects or what I'm doing. What is your advice or thoughts on people who just don't know where to start?
Well, first, please reach out to me because we can connect you with a HERS rater that is participating in the current New Homes program that Consumers Energy is running, which is a standard energy efficiency program. I believe there's a network about 12 to 15 HERS raters that we can connect you with, start that preliminary energy modeling work and helping you with the current building plans or permit design plans that you're working with. And then from there, find low-hanging fruit or areas across the home that we can help lower that HERS index in order to, make sure that you could qualify through the income qualified or market rate program.
Yeah, great. And Annie, I'll kind of kick that over to you too. I mean, I'm sure if folks are looking at this and saying, wow, how do I know that I'm on track? I'm going to commit this time. What do I know?
right, and I forgot to mention it earlier, so thank you. We are currently developing a multifamily new construction zero net energy design guideline. So it goes through, we have case studies to show that it is possible in the state of Michigan. You don't need to be in sunny California to hit your zero net energy goals. And we go through energy modeling, going and listing out the different energy conservation measures it would take to get there, to reach that goal. So you have an idea of what baseline we're looking at, what you're starting with, and then what you're going to get to and how to get there. And not just how to get there in these fictitious numbers, but we also have a whole list of equipment that have been reviewed and that we recommend for various types of applications, especially with the all-electric approach. So getting to your HVAC all-electric and your dryers and hot water heaters, all of that. Technology has changed so much in the past couple of years. So the idea that it's cold climate isn't ready for it is wrong, and we are happy to help you along the way to show you that you can get there and you can get there cost effectively.
And I just want to say one of the benefits of this program, this Green Affordable Housing Program, is that you might say, well, I got to go out and hire this energy modeler and sort of take a risk to pay them to do the modeling to see if I'm on track for the program before I get the funds. And so what we want to tell you is that at the GreenHome Institute, we can alleviate that risk by working with you in the design stage through our funds to eliminate that upfront cost barrier. And there's great HERS raters out there too who might just do this to help you out. I want to say that, or energy raters that you work with, Annie, but that's something we can do internally or through our partners in this program. So don't feel like, oh, this is a huge barrier. Just, I've had teams just unload documents of plans on me and then I can run through and model it out and say, look, you're 50% of the way there, whichever program it is, whichever property, you're 50% of the way there, but if you do X, Y, Z, we can help you get the rest of the way. And so don't feel like it's overwhelming. We're here to help on the affordable housing side anyway, at least. So this is a great question that just came in. Somebody's thinking, well, maybe I can take advantage of both of these programs. But I know that's not true, but I know that where one ends, the other one kind of begins, and there's a little bit of gray area. So Kyle, can you just talk about as you start to breach that and get into the multifamily side where your program kind of caps at? Sorry, I meant Ross. I was looking at a question from Kyle.
Sorry. Then what was the question? Sorry.
What I was saying is, at some point your program ends as far as how big you can get, how many units you can get. Where is that at?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, right now it's for single family homes, duplexes, and townhomes. We don't have a cap on the townhome limit, but we would definitely need to look at the plan reviews and make sure that there's no, if it would fall under, that multifamily component. Once there's, multiple units over top of one another, it might, reach or disqualify for our program and then go into the multifamily program.
Yeah, and Annie, I know we're working on hopefully something relatively small. So, I mean, can you just tell me, where you think your project's going to draw the line as far as how small it can be?
Yeah, we're pretty small starting points of, I think it's like 3 or more units to classify as multifamily. So yes, there's going to be overlap, but I don't think you'd be eligible for both at the same time. So you'd have to decide which one you get the most bang for your buck for.
Yeah, I know I think it's like 4-unit duplexes, so that we're looking at. So it can get pretty small. So, and that kind of gets into the next question, just on existing versus new. Ross, can you tell us a little bit about opportunities with existing structures or barriers?
Yes, so right now it's primarily for new construction. However, we would possibly look at gut rehabs if you're working with a HERS rater and meeting the minimum or eligibility requirements of this program. We potentially look at that, but that will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis and reviewing the plans and working with the builder or developer.
Yeah, and Annie, as I understand, and as we're working on, you basically just have lower thresholds for existing and a little bit higher stringencies for new, correct?
Yep, as long as you're hitting our % reduction requirements and that you're modifying at least two whole building systems, then we're good.
Right, yeah, okay, that's interesting though. So yeah, not a full gut rehab, but just 2 items in the building to get there?
Yep, whole building system, so
okay.
Hitting your HVAC or your lighting, but oftentimes you're going to have to do more than that in order to hit the % reduction requirement. That's just kind of one of the boxes we need to check.
Right. Well, that's great. I don't see any other specific questions out there. So I want to thank Ross and Annie for joining me here today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Feel free to, I'm going to send out a follow-up email to everyone just with all of your contact information and links to your programs. And we just look forward to helping you all find a way to just move your projects forward next year and helping with improvement. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great holiday and take care. Be well.
Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.